Right, here we are again. Grade 11, and maybe some grade 12 learners might want to take part. I saw this very nice program, well, interesting little problem here, where you enter a 3-digit number in an edit and you must print out or display or whatever the digits, like there's 5 5s and 4 4s and 2 2s in only a 3-digit number. So I thought that was a nice little challenge for everybody to take. So this is how the program will work. I will type in a 3 2 1 and it displays it like that. Now I've decided we're going to use text files as well as displaying it in the rich edit here. 3 3 3 2 2 and 1, one after the other. Put it in an edit box. 3 3 2 2 and a 1. We will also write it to a text file. Let me find these files like such. In other words, after the number is displayed one digit after the other, we'll introduce a hash, and then we will write the text file, the expanded number in, like we did it on the edit box there, the way we displayed it there, we will display it in this format in a text file called numbers.txt. So not only are you going to create a text file, you're also going to see if it still exists, and then you're going to read from that. And guess what? You're going to reverse the whole procedure. Should be exciting. Reading from the text file to display the numbers over there. So far, this text file that we have here has 201 and 321. So it's done the reverse of that activity there, and reading from the text file that we created over there and wrote 2 on that side, right hand side. I'm going to read from it and display the original numbers that were typed in on the left hand side. So that should be fun. First of all, we have this interface here, and I will provide this data on the classroom, Google Classroom, and on both grade 11 and 12. I think the grade 12 is going to like this activity anyway, just to, keep everyone's brains going. Can't not use your brain cells. Okay, so let's go and do it. We're going to read a number. It has to be 3 digits. So first things first, to make sure that that edit box called EDT input only contains 3 digits, and if not, we want to get out of there. So if length of the edit box contents, the length of that is not equal to 3, it can't be anything other than exactly 3, then we will show a message and exit. Always the easiest way to do it. After I've done this program, you can actually try it by yourself without looking at the video. So that should be fun for you. Right, now, next thing. Get to the right program. Where are we? Okay, so imagine 3 digits going in there. So we're going to read the 3 digits. So, for loop. There's going to be 3. We're going to go through each character one at a time. So I'm going to go and get a for loop count over there. A local variable, of course. 1 2 3. There's no doubt about it. There will be 3 digits. We've made 100% sure about that with this little message. Okay, so we'll read each one. Now remember, you're going to read from left to right, not from right to left. So in other words, like for instance, here's the number 321. You read that number first. Number 3 comes first, that one. But never mind. So we're going to read each number and we will repeat it when we read it. And I'm going to use a digit. A a little extra digit, I think. So let's go and do that. Call it odd digit. And I make that equal to box number K, because remember we're going from the first digit, and remember, if this is the number down here, look, I'm going to write it on the screen. If 321 is the number there, can you see that number there? The first digit is going to be the 3, not the 1. It's quite easy to get confused like that, you know, because our maths brains are thinking 1, 2, 3 there, but it's actually starting from the left. Anyway, just to clarify that. So, what are we going to do? We're going to get the first digit, which will be, if it was a 321, we take character number 1, character number K. Remember, character number K is going to go from 1 to 3, so we get character number K. And, well, we've got to convert that character to an integer, so I'm going to say string to int. And character number K of what? Our edt input dot text. I have not created a variable for that. I don't have too many variables. So our digit is going to take character number K, and each time it does that, we are going to repeat it. So I'm going to have another for loop. By the way, you can't use the for loop counter twice. You must use a different for loop. I'll just use M. And I'm going to go for M equals 1 to our digit. Now remember that first character that we read off there, if I had the number 321, I always like visuals, there's a 3. If that's a 3, we're going to go from 1 to 3. And what are we going to do with it? Well, a couple of things. So I'm going to do begin and end. There's a couple of things I want to do with it. Serious couple of things. I want to display it one after the other in the rich edit. I also want to add it to a string that I'm going to display to the edit box. And on top of that, on top of all of that, I want to go and put it into my numbers.txt. But don't forget, before we go and put the line in that we've composed together, we're going to build a string, by the way. We have to build this string. Before we put that in, we want to introduce a hash. So just to make it even more complicated, I'm going to delete all of that, just for fun. Right, so, okay, where are we? We're here. We're reading number 3. Say if it was 3. Always use a practical example to, you know, an example, a sample data to test your theories out on, your logic, should I say. Right, for 1 to 3, get the character number K. So it's going to go from 1. Cool, 1. If it happens for 1, it'll happen for all the others. So the digit, the first digit in this case is going to be a 3. So for that, I'm actually going to build a string, you know, for the display that we're going to put in here, edt out. But I also must display, if it was 3 times, into the rich edit. So I'm going to take a gander on this. Already out dot lines dot add. We will display our digit there. Right, so that takes care of displaying if it was 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay. So if it was a 3, we're going to display it 3 times, aren't we? So that for loop works. I'm sure that's going to work. Then what about a string that we want to build? Well, we have to build a string for displaying inside this goodie here, this output component, edt out. It's a long string. All the 3, 3, 3 all joined together. Then a 2, 2, then a 1, because it's only 1 is one digit. By the way, there's a little... Anyway, so yeah, we also have to remember about noughts. We'll come to noughts later. Let's worry about this. Okay, first we worry about our basic logic, then we worry about the little added extras, like if there's a nought, what are we going to do? Anyway, I'm going to first worry about the easy part. Yeah, I want to build a string, but you always just remember, if you're going to build a string, start with an empty one. Okay, and while I'm building a string inside a loop, and my whole string is going to be started off here, not over here, because that's just the one digit, but S line, which is my output string, must be initialized before we do anything in this case. Now, let me just check my volume here. Oops, okay. Sorry about that, folks. Now we're going to go and build our string with that digit. S line equals S line. The previous S line, which will be nothing for the start off. It'll be empty to start off if we are in the first digit there, which is that one. Plus I digit. So remember, always remember to our conversions. Remember to enter string stuff and vice versa. So here we go. We're building the 3 and we are displaying that there. Now, we should maybe test to see if this works. So let's see what happens if I run this now. Let's just see. Okay, we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Get the first character, and then from 1 to that digit, we convert it to integer. We're displaying the rich edit. We're building a string. And it makes sense that after all of this is done, let me go and display in my other output component, edt out, S line, which has safely been converted to a string. Now I'm going to run this and see what happens, and then we can fix the problems, eh? Okay. Oh, right. So yeah, joining plus signs. Let's do this. I'm going to put in a number, 321, the one that I used. 333, 221. Yeah, it worked. But what if I put a 0? Yeah, doesn't recognize a 0, so we have to fix that one, hey, before we do anything else. So that little formula works nice and simple. If the digit is a naught, let's go and check it over here, because remember, this is where we get our digits. We get 3, 2. Let's say the person puts in 320 or 302 even. Doesn't matter. If it's a naught, we have to do something special. And I'm going to check it over here, because remember, that is where we're checking the characters from 1 to 3. So if our digit equals naught, then, well, I might do a couple of things. If it's naught, I'm going to do that else. Because for every other digit, we're going to repeat. Not so. Even for 1. If it's 1, we'll do this once. From 1 to 1, if the digit is 1, then we will do that once inside begin and end. But if it's naught, we actually want to at least display one naught and add one naught to our line or the rich edit. And guys, remember, copy and paste is your friend. Copy and paste is your friend. And what we're going to do is just put a 0 here and add a 0, a string 0, eh? Okay, so there we go. We've added a 0 to the rich edit and to the line. Join the naught onto S line. So let's see if that works. Oops, errors. Oh yeah. Okay, run it again. hate my voice in these things. I hope it doesn't sound funny. Oh, that looks quite okay, doesn't it? Hey, let's try 310. 310. Rightio. There we go. 3, 1, and 0. So it works pretty fine. What about a 900? There we go. 2 noughts, and that's perfect. Right, so that works. So far, so good. Eh? Now, to make it even more complicated, we are going to, like I showed you earlier, we're going to create a text file and put everything into a text file. So far, what we got is, we don't have anything. So we're going to have to do that. Let's create a text file, shall we? Actually, I think I can close this fancy program now. Hey, I think you know all about that. That's my memo program. It's just the executable file. You know, you can run those things. This is my data files. These are my data files. We're writing the program from scratch. So I'm doing it with you. Okay, I must admit I did do it before this. But, yeah. So now we're going to create a text file. Well, we're not going to, we are going to create one. If there's one exists, if you want to write all this stuff to a text file, all the numbers down the line and then a hash before the actual number, how can I explain this? Let's say, I'll just do it over here. I think you can see. 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. And then if you have another number, we want to have a hash. Now this text file must look like this. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Then let's say we have 2, 2, and 0, 0. So that'll be 200. And then we'll have a hash before we actually put in the 2, 2, 0, 0. 2, yeah. That's how the 200 will look. Yeah. That is how 200 will look. So we're treating the zeros like ones, but remember you saw my code over there where we just added a naught. That's what that will do. So if it's 200, it'll look like that. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's supposed to be 3, 3. This is just a sample output here. So this is what the text file must look like. Okay, we're going to display just like we did in the rich editor. We'll go and put them all out one after the other, but then we'll introduce a hash in our text file before we go and put this number, which is S line. Remember, S line joins all the digits together. All the digits join together there. We can do lots with this. We can even add all the, okay, we won't do that. But what we're going to do now is make sure we have hashes before we go and display that in the rich edit. I mean, in the text file, not the rich, yeah, in the text file. This is the text file. This is a sample text file, okay? Sample text file right there. I will delete it just now. I'm just showing you how the text file must look. A hash must be introduced before whatever goes into this S line. That will go onto the text file as well. We'll just make sure there's a hash. When we're writing to the text file, we will basically be putting all the digits one after the other, then a hash, and then those combined digits. Okay, I think you got the message, right? Okay, let's do it. Well, to start off with, when you use text files, we have to have a text file variable, always. So I always like to use my file. We also need a string, but we've got S-line. We've got everything else, so that's fine. So we have to have a text file variable as priority. And then the sign file statement. Now this is the tricky part, because normally we do a sign file after we're checking if it exists. That's for if you're reading. We have to check if the text file exists, yes. And the reason would be, okay, now you can just decide whatever before I go there. You have to, your text file, assignment statement, assign file, my file numbers.txt, standard, memorize that. We have to do that before we can create a text file or read from a text file or add lines, in other words append. So the three operations: rewrite, reset, and append, which I have already explained to you. We always have to do a sign file first. Now we need to have a question if not file exists, but I just want to demonstrate something to you. if not file exists. Why are we going to do this? We want to check if it exists, because if it does, we don't want to go and recreate it, because if you do recreate it, you're actually deleting everything that's in the existing file. We don't want to actually delete it and recreate it again. So we do check if it exists. If it doesn't exist, then we can use our rewrite statement. Rewrite our file after we assign the text file. So we use our rewrite statement after we've assigned it to a text file variable. After, insert key. You know that insert key on the keyboard? It's a nuisance. I don't know what it's there for. I've never used it for anything. But if the file does not exist, we'll do that. Otherwise, we will append it. Now, this works, okay, as it stands here. The structure right here works, and I'm quite happy with it. If the not file exists, we assign file and rewrite. Else, we assign file and append. But it actually works if you take this out and put assign file right there, and everything is fine. It will still work. So this is standard, and because there's only one thing we're going to do, and don't forget no semicolon before else, because there's only one thing we're doing. If it doesn't exist, we rewrite. If it does exist, we append. Append means we're going to actually get it ready for adding lines to. Not reading. Don't confuse these three: append, rewrite, and reset. We'll reset only if we read. At the moment, we are creating text files and writing to text files or whatever. So if the file does exist, the else part will happen, and it'll be in append mode, ready to read. But this assign file statement must happen. Whether you put it before each one of these or over there first, it will work over there, right there, even if the file does not exist. Actually, that's interesting. Let's check that out, eh? Right, so let's go and see if it does exist now. Rewrite. Interesting. Okay, delete that one too. Let me just double check if that actually does work. Well, it's supposed to have created a blank empty file. Oh no, I didn't actually, silly me, I didn't actually click on any buttons now, did I? It was all in our button click event. Yeah, I'm thinking it's on activate. So there it is. It was created, empty, ready to have items added to it. No problem. Okay, so that code is perfectly fine. We're now going to yeah, I'm lost now. Okay, yeah, we're going to write all the lines to the text file. We're going to write all those numbers. Remember, all the numbers in the line, one after the other, just like it was displayed in the rich edit, and that long number that is displayed there, we're going to write it to the text file as well. So we've got our everything's done here. All we have to do is go and put in our statements for writing to a text file. And remember, we have to do this. If it's naught, whatever we do there, we must add there. So let's go and do that. I'm going to just fill in a write line statement, my file, and a naught right there. Okay, and I will do this over here as well. Write my file and a naught. That's the structure of a write line statement. The text file variable, and then the string that you want to add to the text file. Remember, ln means it'll write it, and then the pointer will go to the next line of the text file, which we'll demonstrate quickly. If I put 321 in here, we'll see in our text file. Oops. Oh, you know why that didn't work? because we forgot to close file. If you don't close file, you're not going to be doing any writing. I can promise you that much. I'm going to close file here. It's so cool that you can close file after the loop. So let's see now if it works. So we wrote line, and you've got to have a close file statement. Well, nothing's going to be written. So glad I made the mistake. So now you can learn from it. Learn from mistakes always. Oh, there. Oh, not. Oh, because I'm only displaying noughts. Eh? All I did was add noughts. I never did anything else. Yeah, look at that. Let's go fix that. All we do is go and take this into string. Don't forget into string. When you're writing to the text file, you need to convert to a string. Everything must be in string format. Just like what you display on the form, text files must also have strings, only have strings in them. Right, let's try this again. Let's see if I've made any other silly mistakes that we can learn from. Okay, so we've got all those digits there. There's my numbers.txt. There it is. But unfortunately, those are still there, you know. Never mind. 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. We know it works. And I'm just going to be funny and delete that text file. It will create it next time. Code is so cool because, you know, you can do anything and then it restores. Well, now I'm only joking. Waffling. Right, what have we done so far? We have done this. We've managed to get this far. 3, 2, 1. Do it. Look at our text files. Super awesome. 333 221. Exactly as we wanted. But we're not finished. We want to put a hash, and then that other digit must go underneath the long number, the expanded one. We are going to do that over here. Do you see where we've actually displayed in the text in the edit box? This is where we write to the text file as well. Simple as that. But what about the hash? What about the hash? The hash must come before it. So guess what you do? Write ln my file, comma, and a hash. Done. Okie doke. So let's run it and see. Let's put another number in. The other number that was there, it's going to stay there. Might not be 100% because it doesn't have a hash, so it won't look the same. So there we go. There's the new one, digits all the way down. I'm not even going to count because I know they're correct. And there's the hash, and then there's the long expanded number in string. Well, they're all strings. Everything on a text file is a string. Now I'm actually going to delete that text file. Why? Because I actually want to have it in the perfect format when I read from it. Because that's what our next job is going to be. We're going to reverse our process. So let's go and put a couple of numbers in. 3, 2, 4. 2, 2, 0. Right. 2, 2, 2, 2, 0. See? It has to be 2, 2, 2, 0. So there we go. Now we want to reverse that. Remember it was 3, 2, 4 and 2, 2, 0. Let's go check out our numbers. 3, 2, 4 and 2, 2, 0. Okay. I want to reverse those two now using this button over here. Okay, let's get back to our normal program. So in this button, we're going to read from the text file all those numbers until we get a hash. Then we're going to take that big long number called 324, 33322, and then 4444, and convert it back to its normal form, 324. Display it in a label as well as in the rich edit. I just want to be funny there, you know. I'm going to display in this label called LBL out, one after the other, because there's going to be a lot of numbers. You want all the numbers coming out of this text file. Now we know we've got 2 so far. And what is going to happen is when we read from this text file, we're going to read line, 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 read a line. Well, when we read that line, well, when we read that line, that one, we're going to go to the next one, the hash. When we see a hash, okay, after I read that line, when I see the hash, I'm going to read the next line, which will be that one. Then I'm going to take that one and break it down, use a loop, and deconstruct it. So I'm going to have 3, 2, and 4. So that's the next one. Next little problem solving little thing going down, yeah? And that's really exciting, don't you think? And on top of that, what I want to do is put them into the label one number at a time. What are our numbers again? Let me go and see. Okay, I'll go and put it over here. This was the original problem that I found on the internet. 324 and 220. Was that it, eh? I don't remember. Let's go and look at our numbers.txt. 324 and 220. Yep. So, if I had 333, 224444 and 22220, is that what it looks like? Back to the text file. 22220. Yep. So, this is what they look like. Let's make this big. Okay, so you get the picture. Right, 333224444. We want to break it down to 324 and this one to 220. Let's think about the logic of this first. Well, I know reading from the text file is painful. We have to go through that. But let's get to the inside bit, the bit that really worries us. How are we going to break that string down to those 3 digits? Well, you're going to read the first digit. Okay, number 1. Remember, we're starting number 1 on the left, not over there. When you see numbers, it's always scary. I know if you say Jane Doe, Jane, the first character is J, And when we see digits, I always think we must read from the right. I don't know, I do that, but maybe I'm just weird. Anyway, we're going to read from the first digit. I know some of you are saying, yes, ma'am, you weird. It's fine. Stop playing games. I can see you playing games, by the way. Anyway, read the first digit, and then what are we going to do next? We're going to delete from the first digit, and it just so happens the first digit is 3, and it's 333. So we'll delete. After you've read the first one and done what we wanted to do with it, we'll delete all of them. Then we'll read the second one, and we'll delete all of those, and then we'll read this one. What happens when we delete all 3? There we go. Now we've got this one. So now we're looking at the first digit again. Character number 1 of that line. It's a string, hey? Might look like a number, but it's a string. Why? Well, we're going to read it from a text file, so everything read from the text file is a string. And if it wasn't, we'd have to convert things to strings in this case, because we have to delete things from it. And it's the easiest way to handle this. We delete as long as we know we're not going to use it again. Put those back again. The 3, read it, see what it is. Okay, it's a 3, so I'm going to delete from 1 from the first character, and I'm going to delete 3 characters. Magic! It just happens to be 3s because it's a 3. So 3 3s are deleted after we've done what we want to do it. Build a string and put it, build a string. We're going to build a string. It's all about building strings. We're going to build a string with a 3. So our first character in the string is going to be a 3. Then we delete all of that. And then the first character is going to be this one. And we'll delete those 2 after we've built the string with it. Get the idea? delete from the string, starting at the first one, and in this case it'll be 2 characters to delete. And then the next time, once we've done that, we'll have 4, well in this case it's 4. Remember, I'm using a hypothetical example, which is always good to do. The first character, starting from there to the number of characters, which happens to be 4, because it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, then we'll delete, and then we have an empty string. So we're going to do this until we have an empty string. Now I'm not going to use a repeat loop, I'm going to use a while loop. Okay, but what are we going to do in the case of this, the 0? So we'll read that, and remember we have 2, 2, and a 0, so that's quite interesting. So this one that we read, that we find in the text file, first character is a 2, so what are we going to do? We're going to add it to our string, and then we'll delete two characters. And then we have first character is a 2 again, so we'll add that to our line, our string, and then we will delete the 2 characters. What are we going to do if it's a 0? Well, this is what we have to put in our code. We say if it's a 0, well, see, if it's a 1, we know we're going to delete from 1. But if it's a 0, we'll add that, and then we'll delete 1 character. So we have to add that into our code. What are we going to do with zeros? Right, so now that is our logic behind how to reverse this whole operation. But first we have to read from the text file, even that little button tells us. So, read from text file. Well, if you're going to read from a text file, you need 2 things. You need a my file text file variable, just like with when you want to create a text file or append lines to a text file, you need a text file variable. But when you read, you also need to have a string. I can use sline, yeah, I know I used it in the other button click event over there, but it's fine, you can use it again because it's a local variable. If it's global, you definitely can't use it again. One is global. Right. Now, standard thing is standard operation. If not file exists, and you must know the name of the text file that you are looking for to see if it exists. You always have to have this before you read from a text file, regardless of whether in an exam or a test you're told to put it in. You always have to have it. Show message, no file found, or something like that, and exit. Right, that is the easiest way to handle it with this if not file exists statement. Hey, did we check? Yeah, we checked for 3 characters there. Alright, okay. So once you've done that, you can safely say assign file, my file, because we know it's found, so numbers.txt. Copy and paste your friend, people. You can't make mistakes if you copy and paste. You're in programming. And then we have to use the reset. Reset my file. And then you have to use while not end of file, my file. Now, guys and girls, this is standard. Just study these things. 3 marks. 1, 2, 3. Okay, while not end of file, my file. That's all you need. And then we know whatever we're doing on the first line of the text file will carry right through. We have to have a read ln my file and then S1 line. Okay, here's your 4th mark. Oh, why am I saying S1 line? S line. I used S1 line before. S line is our variable that we're reading into. Standard statement, read ln. What it does, it reads from the text file and moves to the, reads it, and then the pointer's ready on the next line waiting to be read again. So the read will read that number, and then the pointer goes to the next line of the text file waiting for another read statement to happen. Read ln in this case. ln means it's like a return key enter key in the keyboard, except we're not entering, we're just moving the pointer to the next line. Right, read ln, my file, and we know S line's going to contain whatever was read. We are looking, we don't want these numbers, nah, we want this. We want that. So we're waiting till we find a hash. So we're going to read and read and read. And if S line equals a hash, then what are we going to do? Quite a number of things, I should imagine. Well, just remember the last read line statement, we read that, no, the hash. Reads the hash and the pointer's sitting over there. We're waiting for another read line statement. So guess what? We have to read that line. So let's go and have a read ln happening. Same one as before. Okay, now we know we've got our long thingy there. We're gonna go through this thing until we have, well, basically we're gonna chop all the pieces off, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, until we have nothing. That is what S line's gonna hold, that 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4. So I'm gonna start with a while loop. I'm gonna go in here with a while loop. While length of S line is not equal to naught. I know we could say, well, length is greater than naught. We could do that. Yeah, but I like the not equal sign. Do begin and end. Always make sure begin and end is happening there so that you don't make a mistake. Always put your begin and end just as a matter of habit, so that you don't lose marks, because you could lose marks if you don't use begin and end. Obviously you will in this case. We're going to do more than one thing. We are going to go and get the first digit. I'm going to go and make a variable called digit. Did I use a digit before? Probably. Never mind. We can use a variable here again because the other one was used locally. Digit is going to be equal to S line character number 1. Remember I showed you that we were going to chop off the first character. Well, yeah. But of course, oh, there was my phone. You never guess who, but never mind. So now we're going to say string to int, open brackets. Why? Because we've got to get that first digit converted to an integer. Then what are we going to do with that digit? Well, we want to add it to a string so that we can eventually display, well, yeah, we want to display a string. Where are we going to display it? On the label and in the rich edit, we're going to build a number. I'm going to build a number, and if I find a hash, I'm going to make s output equals an empty string. Well, s output is going to be my compiled number that I'm going to get from this, my 324, and I'm compiling it, okay, before the loop. Inside this loop we are building up 3 digits, but we have to go through this lot. The only way to do it is using delete, but our digit has to be put in to s output, added. Plus int to string digit. Okey-doke. What are we going to do with this output now? Well, we're not doing it, we're just leaving it there. It's busy building, inside the loop. If it was 3 to 4, 3 is now S output. What do we want to do with our line, S line? Well, I want to delete from it. Delete from S line, starting at 1. And how many times I'm going to delete? How many characters? Digit. Whew. We're going to delete digit times. And what's going to happen? Well, okay, 3 to 4, so we'll delete the 3, and then we'll be left with 2. And this loop is going to go over here. We're going to read the next one. The next digit, the next character, number 1. After you've deleted the first character, all those numbers, 333, we deleted them. Well, before we deleted, we went and put our digit into this output, okay? And then we delete the 333, then we go get the next character, which will be 2. And then we add 2 to our output string as output, and then we'll delete 2, 2, and then we'll have 4, then we delete 4, and guess what? After this deleting, the length is going to be 0, and then we'll be over here. Well, reading the line, aren't we? Reading the line inside the loop, reading the line until we get it in the file. Now, that is building S output. S output will be built as 324 from after this loop, these loops as it stands. What is going to happen if we have a naught? Each time we get a hash, okay, so what happens, we read that once the 324 is built, and then it's going to go to the next line until we find a hash, and then we're going to work on that until the end of the text file. You don't have to worry about, is it going to go, if it works for the first batch, that'll work for the rest. So you always test, have your test data available so you can play around with it and make sure everything's working. It'll carry on until we're not at the end of the text file, and each time we see a hash, we're going to start a new build of a string, read the next line, and then while we're at the end of that, while the length of that line is not 0, we'll do these 3 things. What if digit is a naught? Okay, well, it'll work with this delete, and it'll work with that. So I'm going to say if I digit equals naught, then I'm going to do something else. Begin and end. Else, because it's not going to work the same if it's a 1 or up to 9. If it's a naught, we have to do something a bit different. We're going to add a naught over here to our output string. Oops, not a letter O, naught. And we will delete that naught. And it's 1 digit, isn't it? So, there it all comes together. Now, the thing is, that we have built an S output, okay? And where will it be after every hash? Okay, this is why you need to double check where are your ends, where are your begins and ends. Very important. This is end of if S line equals a hash. Oops. This is end of reading from a text file. This is end of while the S line is not empty. Yeah. So if line is a hash, we do all of this, and I always go from the inside out if I'm confused. Get my begins and ends, match them up using a little selection, and then indentation. Very helpful indeed. If a S line is a hash, so remember this case I had two numbers, that one and that one, so that hash and that hash. So the text file was going to be reading all the time until we find a hash. So before we get to the end of our text file, I'm going to display in the label and in the rich edit. Already display and LBL out. If you can't see your label, just go and look here in the structure list. There's LBL out, there's already display. Right, we're in that button, click. So I'm going to say LBL display dot caption equals the previous LBL, oops, equals, oops, it's LBL out. So not LBL display, LBL out dot caption equals LBL out dot caption. The previous caption, which is nothing when we started off, not so, plus S output. But I'm going to introduce a hash 13 here. Why? So there we go. And now we're going to do red display dot lines dot add is output. So what's going to happen? It is doing that. By the way, people, did we close file? Yes, we did close file. Yeah, that's very important. And by the way, just as a matter of interest, so anyway, so there's our, yeah, I'll tell you the interesting thing just now. This is our label doing its thing there with a, oops, not an equal sign, plus sign, jeepers. The caption will be the previous caption plus S output we built up there, plus an end of line character. That hash 13 will just move everything and the next, get ready for the next thing to be put on. So you will have the numbers one after the other. And then already displayed lines of add, we know that's easy, hey? But here's an interesting thing. We don't normally have to close a file, a text file, by the way. This is happening after we've read from the text file. Remember, reset and everything. If you want to go from one button to the next here, this close file statement is very important after you read. But normally you don't actually have to put it in if you're just reading in your program. If you're reading and writing the same program, close file statement, pretty useful. Right, so there we go. I'm going to go straight to read from a text file. Nope, 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 and more nope. But the numbers are right. There, the numbers are right. Yes, the numbers are right. My label didn't go and display anything. Okay, so let's go and see. Where's the error? Right. So we had some blanks, didn't we? Let's see, if S line equals naught, if it's a hash, then we're going to read from the next one. Get S output equal to an empty string. Oh, no, this S output must be initialized, not there. This always happens. Need to initialize the output right at the top. Oh, let's see if that's going to make any difference. You'll be surprised. Where you initialize your counters or your strings. Nope. But we have 324220 there for some unknown reason. Okay, let's try and figure this one out, eh? So, read from the text file into S-line. If S-line is a hash, then we read the next line. Okay, now we're playing this line. If while the length is not equal to that, we are going to build our digits. S output, oops. S output is not there, no. Actually is here. While the length's not equal to naught, get your first digit. If it's naught, we'll add naught to S output. If not, we'll get the digit added. Then we'll delete. If a line is a hash. Well, okay. Let's move this into here. Okay, now see what I did. I moved my lbr.caption equals that and display into this area. Let's see what happens now. There we go. Simple little error. Sometimes when you're caught up with stuff, you get confused, like me. Anyway, what happened here? Why was this going over there and not over there? Well, just a little bit calculation here. End of if line, if S line is a hash. So hashes for each number that we want to, join up or display, whatever, 3-digit number. So it stands to reason it must be there. If we put it over here, that's basically, it's not going to work. As you could see, we have to display our number each time we build. So this while loop, to put it more bluntly, this while loop is constructing a 3-digit number, which will then add to our label display and to the rich edit. So it stands to reason that it must be there before we go and look for the next hash to find the next 3-digit number. So anyway, that's that, folks. I'm going to save this, and grade 11, you must now do page 142 in your green practical textbook, not the electronic version. You all have your textbooks at home. You're going to practice reading from a text file, activity 2, number 1, on page 142. That's chapter 6 text files. Yes, that's just to practice reading. This was a complicated example, yes, but I'm hopeful that you'll be able to repeat these instructions without me giving you the answers. And yeah, have fun doing that. I'll put the data files onto Google Classroom. Okay, take care. How do I switch this off? Oops. There's the button.